When building database-driven applications with PHP, one of the available APIs for establishing a connection to the database is PDO. The other one is MySQLi. PDO is simply a database access layer that provides a uniform method for accessing multiple databases. In this lecture, we should discuss some of the advantages of using PDO instead of the MySQLi API. One of the very first advantages that we'll talk about is the fact that PDO offers support for multiple drivers. Currently, PDO supports 12 different database systems, whereas MySQLi, on the other hand, only supports the MySQL database. So the advantage of this is when you are switching from one database to another, PDO makes the process very painless. Whereas in MySQLi, you need to rewrite all your code again. In PDO, you only need to change few queries and just the connection string. To get a list of currently installed drivers on your computer, you can use the PDO method getAvailableDrivers. Let's see how to do this. Alright, so right here I have my blank PDO project and I just have a file within this project which is database.php. Now, to get all the available drivers loaded on my system, I need to make a call to the PDO function getAllAvailableDrivers. This is going to return an array of all the available drivers. In that case, we need to either use the var_dump or the printr function to display the results. So let's use the var_dump. So we'll make a call to the PDO class and then say getAllAvailableDrivers. Alright, so let's run this on the browser. So once I refresh the page, it gives me a list of all the available drivers on my system. Here I have MySQL and SQLite. So if I want to use any other driver, I could go ahead, look at the PHP documentation for how to install that driver on my system. Another cool feature of PDO is the error handling capability. PDO comes with an inbuilt exception class that allows us to easily handle problems that may result when we issue database queries. PDO allows you to use prepare statement to protect against SQL injection. SQL injection is basically a technique that allows an attacker to insert malicious SQL statement through an input data which may cause severe damages to your database. So using the prepared statement which PDO provides allows us to have protection against this kind of attack on our database. MySQLi, on the other hand, also supports these, but the difference is that MySQLi only supports the ordinal or the unnamed parameter types, which means MySQLi doesn't support using name parameter, which allows us to be more explicit when we are specifying parameters for our prepared statement. On the other hand, PDO supports both methods, supports using the ordinal, which also refers to the unnamed parameter, and also the named parameter method. The question mark is what is used in MySQLi to bind parameters to the database query, whereas in PDO, we can use both methods. We can use the question mark, or we can specify the name of the specific column or what we want to use to identify that column when we are inserting data into the database or when we are querying data from the database, or generally when you are doing any kind of operations. Another cool feature of PDO is the fact that it supports transaction. And basically, a transaction is a group of statements that must all complete together or fail. So with PDO, we can ensure data consistency using the rollback functionality, which allows us to roll back a transaction in the event that the transaction does not complete successfully. A critical example of this will be a banking application. So we're going to see how to implement all these much later as we go on in the course. And the last one that we are actually going to consider here is the fact that you can actually combine PDO with the standard PHP library, a collection of classes and interfaces that can be used to solve common problems. PDO can actually be combined with the SPL iterators for fast loading of huge data sets. This is a fairly advanced concept, and you can actually check it up in the PHP manual. These are some of the features that makes PDO great for database access. MySQL, on the other hand, is not bad. It turns out that PDO has more functionality compared to MySQLi.